Hello, and welcome to the Student Affairs portion of our virtual open house. My name is Michael Luciani, and I'm the Vice President for Student Affairs at Landmark College. And today it's my job to talk to you about what your life is going to look like as a student on campus and within our community. Now today we're going to talk about 6 specific areas of student life on campus: residential life, student athletics, outdoor programs, campus activities, student leadership, and our community on campus as well. And while we're going to focus on these 6 areas, know that student affairs and campus life have a number of other supports and services and programs that are available to students, including health services, counseling, campus safety, social pragmatics, and a number of others. So if you don't hear about a particular area of campus life that's of interest to you, please make sure you submit a question later on in the program. Now first up, we want to talk about residential life. Now we start with residential life because we know that for so many students, it's the hub of their life on campus and where they set down roots in the community. Now, Landmark College is able to offer students a wide range of residential options, from traditional residence halls to suite-style living to apartments on campus. Now, the benefit here is that the longer a student's on campus, the more opportunities they have to live in increasingly independent living opportunities. Now, every living space on campus has community space for social time, group studying, more learning, programming, and just hanging out on campus. Now, in addition, there's a number of services and programs that are also housed within the residence halls. These include our campus safety office, laundry facilities, fitness centers on campus, our dining services, and lots of campus programming as well. But what's most important about our residential program is not the buildings themselves, but the staff that works with you in the residence halls. The core of the staff includes the resident deans and the resident assistants. Now, it's the job of the resident dean to make sure that your residence hall is an engaging and supportive living and learning community. They support programs and activities within the hall. They are a resource to all students if you need any kind of support or assistance. They also make sure that the community and everyone in it is following our core values of respect, understanding, safety, and honesty. And the RDs also work very closely with your academic advisor. So if there's any difficulty you might be having in the classroom, the RD is also there to support you outside of the classroom to address any obstacles or difficulties you might be having. It's a real team approach. Now, the resident deans also supervise 3 resident assistants in each residence hall. Now, the resident assistants are student leaders who have taken the position of working with students in the residence hall to do a lot of the work and support the work that the RDs are trying to do as well. Essentially, they want to make sure that your residence hall is a great experience. The RAs are available every night and every weekend to students in the main office of the residence hall from 7 until 11. You can go to them with any questions you might have, any concerns. They can also help deal with conflict mediation, any troubleshooting issues that you might have. They're a great resource because they've been where you are. They're a student themselves and they know the student experience better than anybody else. The RAs are also responsible for making sure there's lots of programs and other activities going on in your residence hall. Another important thing to note about the residential staff is their availability to you. As I mentioned before, we have 6 residential areas on campus, and we have 6 resident deans as well. Every residential area has no more than 80 students living there, so that means that your RD is available to pay attention to you and your experience and make sure everything is going smoothly. Now, these are just a few examples of some of the residential spaces and rooms that we have available on campus. This first one is a double room in a traditional residence hall, and so is this one. And you can see that students really make these spaces their own, depending on their style, their interests, and their personality. This is an example of the living area, or the living room, in our Bridges apartments on campus. The Bridges are our apartments on campus that are shared by 4 students, either in single or double rooms. They also share a living room, a small kitchen, a bathroom, as well as laundry facilities for each apartment. Now I'd like to talk to you about our athletic options at Landmark College. We're very pleased to be able to offer students a wide range of team sports on campus, including soccer, men's and women's basketball, baseball, softball, and cross country. Not only do our teams play other colleges in the area, but they also play on local leagues and other events as well, in order to make sure that there's enough competition and enough play for everybody. And this is because we have an all-play policy at the college. If a student wants to be on an athletic team, they can be, as long as they live up to the standards and the expectations for every team, most of which include showing up for practice, being a good sport, supporting all your teammates, and making sure that you're living up to all your academic responsibilities as well. We know how important it is for students to be part of a team, so that's why we have this policy. Now, a student may not be the first person on the field or assigned to every away team, but every student will have the opportunity because we know how important that is. Now, for students who don't want to commit to an athletic team, but do want to get active in some way, we have a very robust intramural program. Every week, there's a different activity available for students to come down with their friends or just join up whoever comes for activities like basketball, softball, dodgeball, volleyball, floor hockey, or ultimate frisbee. These are events and activities that are scheduled by our athletic program week to week, and you can come to one or you can come to every one of them. But we hope you come to most. We also have 3 fitness centers on campus. 2 are located up in the residence halls, and the third one is located in the Click Family Sports Center, where you'll also find our basketball courts and our indoor rock wall. We're also very proud of the newest addition to our athletic facilities, and that's Charles Drake Field. This all-weather turf field is used by soccer and also lined for lacrosse. It's used by our intramural program, as well as any student who just wants to have a pickup game with their friends. We hope that you get a chance to see it in person the next time you're on campus. Now I want to talk to you about our outdoor programs. Now, these are programs and events that the college sponsors that ask students to challenge themselves a little more, to push themselves a little further, and do something that they may not be entirely comfortable with right away. Now, these include programs like mountain biking, rock climbing, snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, hiking and kayaking, rafting, indoor skydiving, alpine skiing, snow tubing, ice climbing, and sled dogs. There are lots of other activities that our staff comes up with every semester, but we take advantage of the fact that we're in Vermont and in a beautiful environment, whether it's the summer, winter, or fall, no matter what the season. Now, as I mentioned, these activities ask students to challenge themselves a little further. They may be a little uncomfortable in the beginning, but if students enjoy success here, then it clearly can show them that they can be successful in many other ways that they may not have thought possible before. Now, we often get the question, what is there to do on campus? And the answer to that is there's lots to do. And that's thanks to our Campus Activities Board. Now, the Campus Activities Board, or CAB, is the main driver behind all of the major events and activities that we have on campus each weekend. They are determined by the students. Now, these include programs like our Fall Fest and Spring Fling. These are our major semester programs, but also programs on the weekends like dances, coffee houses, open mic nights, comedians. We also sponsor a number of city trips to Boston and New York, so students can get into the city for the day and then still come back to the college on the same day. And we also have a number of event trips. If there's a concert or a convention or anything of interest going on, we will run programs and trips to that as well. So our Campus Activities Board and our Student Activities Department make sure there's something for everyone on campus. And this includes the opportunity for students to start and join clubs on campus as well. If a student has an area of interest that they don't see a program for on campus, they can just gather 2 or 3 other students with the same interests, and they can start a club or interest group for themselves. Our campus activities staff is ready to help them do that, to provide some funding, some organization, and some training on how to communicate and get the word out about their club. Now, currently we have more than 20 clubs and interest groups on the books right now, and that might change semester by semester depending on student interest. But we've had a wide range of clubs and interest groups started just by students. Now, when students come to Landmark College, they bring their creativity, their innovation, their initiative with them. And for that reason, we want to make sure that in as many areas on campus as possible, we provide leadership opportunities, both formal and informal, that students can step into. Now, we are very proud to say that during their time here, about 25% of our students will hold a formal leadership position on campus. These leadership positions take the shape of things like resident assistant positions, orientation leadership, student government association senators, members of our diversity and inclusion center staff, students serving as peer mentors, campus ambassadors, club leaders, and team captains. As I said, these are just some of the formal leadership positions that students can step into, but we also recognize that there's a number of emerging student leaders on campus as well. And for that reason, throughout the semester, we'll provide workshops and training opportunities for students to hone and advance and sharpen their leadership skills and opportunities. Now, for these opportunities to be truly meaningful for students, we want to make sure that they're developing skills that are going to be helpful to them for the rest of their lives. And for that reason, and in conjunction with the Academic Affairs Division, we've created leadership competencies that in every area we want to make sure these students are gaining these skills in their leadership programs. Now, these competencies include communication, problem solving, influence, project management, teamwork, understanding agency, meaning they're conscious of not only themselves but their impact on others. Now, we've chosen these leadership competencies because these are the types of competencies and skills that employers and graduate programs are going to be looking for. So we want to make sure the efforts that students have in the work they're doing here in their leadership programs will help them develop in ways that are going to be beneficial for their future. Now, one of the most important things about community is a sense of belongingness. And we want to make sure that students feel like they belong to their new community, their new campus community while they're here. Now, we see it in the work that we do with them every day, and we hear it from them in the stories that they tell us and the feedback that they give us. But we also know from some data that we've acquired that students here, more than other places, feel a sense of belongingness once they come to Landmark College. They feel like finally they have a place where they feel like they belong, that they see themselves as part of an educational or campus community, that students' mental or emotional well-being is a priority to the college, that the college listens to their concerns of students and takes action for them, and we have a campus climate that's free and open to discussion about mental and emotional health and student well-being. Students are very aware of the outreach efforts that we have available for them on campus, and students overall feel like there's a very good support system on campus for students who are going through difficult times. Transition can be very difficult, and we want to make sure that we have the supports and the programs and the resources available to students on campus to help them through that transition, to help them through their growth, and to make sure that they keep moving forward. And this data tells us that this is actually happening. If it's not already clear to you, these elements of belongingness are from a national survey that students completed. Now, the green percentages are where Landmark College students landed, and the red percentages are the national average. So as you can see, students' sense of belongingness at Landmark College is generally higher than the national average of campuses across the country. Now, since Landmark College was founded, it's worked very hard to create a sense of belongingness and community to the neurodiverse student population that it serves. But we also know that it's important and our responsibility to make sure that we honor and support the full range of backgrounds, lived experiences, and identities of all students. And for that reason, the college has created the Centers for Diversity and Inclusion, which consists of the Rise Up Center, the Stonewall Center, and the Center for Women and Gender. Now, these centers, both separately and together, provide students with brave spaces where they can have discussions, come together, and have a sense of community for themselves. These include conversations around race and class, sexual identity and orientation, as well as gender. Now, through all of these programs and experiences, we know that when students come to Landmark College, they create strong connections not only to the college itself, but with each other that last long beyond their time here in Putney. Now, finally, I want to talk to you about a new program that was launched in the fall of 2019. It's called our Transition at College program. Now, this program was designed for students and families who may have been considering a gap year or a post-grad year instead of heading off to college, wondering if they were really ready for the college experience. So Landmark College decided to create the Transition at College program just for those students to provide an additional layer of support for students in their first year on campus, but still give them an opportunity to experience college at some level. Now, the Transition at College program consists of an early orientation that includes goal setting and semester planning. All of the students in the Transition at College program live in a specific residential community, and they have additional co-curricular developmental programming each week that covers areas like conflict resolution, budgeting, time management skills, and things like that. The Transition at College program is overseen by a director, an academic advisor specific to the Transition at College students, and a mentor to work with students on a regular basis throughout the week to make sure they're staying on track. In addition, the Transition at College program includes 3 family team meetings that occur during the semester. One at Family Weekend, one right before Thanksgiving, and one right at the end of the semester. These are meant to make sure that the students are staying on track, keeping on track, and any adjustments that need to be made can be made. Now, the Transition at College program has a lot of other components to it, so if you're interested in this program, I would encourage you to talk to an admissions counselor about it. Now, lastly, I just want to take a minute to talk about some of the realities that colleges and universities are facing this semester. Now, like many other colleges, we have the unique challenge of moving everything that we provide to students to an online platform. And most students and most colleges think of that in terms of their coursework. But at Landmark College, we're working very hard to make sure the important services that we provide to students and what makes us unique continue in that online platform as well. This includes check-ins with the residential staff, counseling and health services availability, social pragmatic availability as well, and a lot of other of the services and programs that we offer that create connections for students, we're replicating in the online platforms as well. So we want to make sure that no matter what the circumstance, Landmark College students are getting the full range of programs and services that we think are so important. And that brings us to the end of the student affairs portion of this virtual open house. I want to thank you for your attention, and if there's any questions about anything I talked about up to now, or things that I may have missed, I hope to hear your questions in the Q&A session. Thank you. Bye-bye.